Now, earlier this week, I had the chance to sit down with Christopher Ruddy, the CEO of Newsmax Media, who is perhaps known as U.S. President Donald Trump's most prominent unofficial spokesman. Well, let's take a look at his insight as to what the president and his administration are truly thinking when it comes to Israel. Let's begin with talking about what is happening here on the ground in Israel. Now, clearly there has been a lot of conflict with what has happened around the Temple Mount. We didn't hear any specific message coming from Trump regarding the Temple Mount, but there were discussions that were happening on the ground here that we don't know much about. What can you say in terms of what you know was happening behind the scenes as this crisis was unraveling?
Well, I can just say that President Trump is probably one of the strongest guys that you'll ever see in the White House that supports Israel. He has a long history of being very supportive of Israel, and he came here to Israel as one of his first countries traveling abroad. I think that was very symbolic and important. I think he's going to have a generally supportive view of Israel, but I think in the beginning it's not going to change too much from the foreign policy of the Bush, Clinton, and Obama administrations, and I think you're already seeing that.
Well, and I do want to ask about the embassy move in a little later on in our conversation here, but I would like to talk about Jared Kushner, who he has selected to essentially be the man who solves the Israeli-Palestinian conflict once and for all. Now, we've just seen a private discussion leaked that essentially revealed Kushner's doubts that there is a solution to this issue in the first place. Is he the right man to be tackling this issue? What is your opinion on that?
I can't believe that he went into it thinking that he was not going to accomplish something. Now, those comments that you're saying he supposedly said were off-the-record comments. I think everybody agrees the solution there is going to be very difficult, but more of a continuing resolution would probably be a better way to express it. And I think Jared is a really smart guy. He's accomplished a lot in his life, and I think it's something that's very close to him to accomplish this. So I think we certainly need to give it a chance.
All right, so talking about, kind of the American policy. Initially, when Trump was campaigning, he said that one of the first things he was going to do was move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, but we haven't seen that happen yet. What is the likelihood that that move will in fact happen, if at all?
It's interesting. That was a very big agenda item for the Trump transition team. It looked like he was going to do it within the first 10 days of becoming president. I think, again, here's where you see everybody says Donald Trump barrels ahead and doesn't. He was advised by a lot of different parties. I think even people from Israel said to him, wait a minute, do you realize fully the implications of what you're doing? And I think he then took a double take and said, before I do this, I want to check with all our allies.
Why do you think the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is such a big goal of the president's?
First of all, it's been very big in the news in America. A lot of Jewish community people in the United States, it's been a big issue. But always remember, the president has a very strong base of support with the evangelical community in the United States. And that has been very strongly, Israel is one of their top priority items. And I think he sees that as being very important. Mike Pence comes from that community as well, the vice president. So I think he sees it as a very important agenda item for the United States.
Another thing that I'd like to talk about is just kind of the public view about whether or not Donald Trump is a true friend of the state of Israel. And we're seeing a lot of divided feelings here in the Israeli public. What is your response to those who are doubting his loyalty?
I've known the man for 20 years. I've always known him to be strongly supportive of Israel. I've never heard him make even an off comment that shows that he doesn't like. In fact, a number of his friends, not only are many of his friends Jewish, a number of his very close friends are Israelis. Now, one of the things that really is a high priority of the Trump administration, I don't think people realize how seriously concerned Donald Trump is about Iran. He's always said that agreement that Obama did was a terrible agreement. He would like to scrap the agreement. I am told that they're already drawing up plans in the next certification in October, and that the president has even tasked aides to start looking in on ways they can decertify Iran in that agreement that President Obama. That would be very significant. Obviously, he's doing that because he's concerned about Iran's threats against the state of Israel.
I'd like to go back to what is happening on the ground within the Holy Land. We're seeing reports coming out that are saying half of the Palestinian Authority's budget is
going to pay the families of terrorists or so-called martyrs. And we have seen the Taylor Force Act been introduced, but it has not yet been passed. What is the likelihood that the United States government is going to change or cut the funding that is going to the Palestinian Authority given these recent reports?
Well, you've probably seen the press reports I have that the Trump administration seems supportive of the Taylor Force Act. And as you know, this is Senator Graham put that in after a U.S. serviceman was stabbed to death in Jaffa. And apparently the Palestinian Authority helped the terrorist family. I mean, that is aiding and abetting. It's almost a reward. So I think this is a really serious concern for the United States. And I think it might be a message to the Palestinian Authority, you better not do this or else you're going to get your funding cut. And I think even the threat of it could be very, very effective.
All right, well, our final question for you is not related to politics, it's not related to Donald Trump, it's related to your visit here in Israel. How are you finding it? Are you enjoying visiting Israel?
What amazes me is that I was first here in 1984. Israel was just 35 years of age, and it is now almost double that.
Wow.
And it's amazing to see the development and the progress, and it's also amazing to see how the young people are so enthusiastic about their global role now because of technology. And so I think it's a very uplifting experience being here.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sitting
Great.
down with us. Christopher Ruddy.
Thank you, Natasha. Great to see you.